What up, world? It's your man Art back with another episode of Your Dig. And this right here is more of that NBA talk, man. Actually, part four of our NBA talk series. This one coming back with Daniel Artest of the Daniel Artest Podcast. Also, General Hannibal X of Journey of a Ballaholic YouTube basketball channel. Gotta go check my guys, man. Make sure y'all follow them for sure. This one right here, we talking about the conference finals, talking about that Clippers Nuggets game 7. Real dope conversation, man. So if y'all want that basketball talk, y'all know y'all gonna get that here. Make sure y'all go get my album though, bruh. Go listen to my album, SU the Guru, Lost. That's on YouTube. Make sure y'all get that. Once again, it's an artist, SU the Guru, Lost. Yeah, man. So make sure y'all check that. But right now, get back into the NBA talk, man. Got a new episode coming out this week, though. So make sure y'all tap in. It's a week of releases. Real dope stuff. You already know how we do. So let's get into it. You dig?
Bring the guys in. What's up, Hannibal Art? What's going on, brothers?
What's good? What's good? What's good, fellas?
What up, fellas?
Man.
What up, fellas?
Glad
Art,
to
you
be
look
back,
like a
man.
genius
Glad to be
right now,
back.
man. Yes, sir. You got Art like a genius right now, man. So y'all know what it is. Listen, y'all know what it is already. This is the Daniel Artest Podcast takeover. I'm turning it over to Hannibal, and we just gonna get started. Let's go.
Hey, listen, man. First of all, I gotta second that motion right there. Art has definitely been nailing the picks. He picked Boston. He picked Denver to kind of, push these Clippers, man. So right now he's looking like a genius for sure. So we're definitely gonna get into those. But I think we wanted to start off with reviewing the second round picks. I mean, in the games, especially in the East Coast, we had the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. Then we had the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics. Listen, let's go off with the man. We're going to start with you, Art, because, like I said, you picked the Celtics over the Raptors. I thought the Raptors were going to the finals. And so the Celtics blew that bubble up. So I'm going to give the floor to you to start it off with what you saw from the Celtics in that series and just how you saw it all unfold, man.
Yeah, man, it's rooted in that star power, man, that firepower. You know what I mean? I was saying it was coming from so many different angles. I didn't see how they was going to keep up with it. The Raptors, like I said, they had a good team, but overall, they didn't have the firepower to keep up with everything the Celtics was bringing to the table, man. Big shouts out to Brad Stevens. I feel like he made a lot of good adjustments, playing Robert Williams a lot. We've seen a lot of Thikes, and Thikes played pretty well. So overall, it was a team effort, man, but it just come from too many different areas from that team, bro. I think I ain't gonna give y'all my predictions yet, but they looking really, really good. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, no Boston Celtics, let's go.
I feel it. I mean, the way I look at it, man, to me, I think you hit it on the head. Brad Stevens, he outcoached Nick Nurse. Like, the bottom line, to me, Nick Nurse was the coach of the year, but I think he's one of the top coaches in the game. And he got outcoached. You know, when, like I said, when Brad Stevens made that coaching change to put Robert Williams in, it was a game changer. And but I think for me, from the player standpoint, Pascal Siakam for me was the biggest letdown. Like, you can't be an all-star player. You can't be that guy that your team is expecting you to be, and you give 15 points for the game. I mean, for the series. Like, you got to give me 20, 25 a night minimum, and he's giving 15 points, and he was doing it inefficiently. So that was the biggest thing, because he wasn't able to take advantage of that matchup, because Lowry, he played, man. Lowry showed he had some fight in him. Van Fleet played, so Serge Ibaka was hitting damn near everything. But they needed their best player to be their best player, and he wasn't. Jason Tatum was, so I took my hat to him, man.
Well, maybe the Raptors did have their best player in Kyle Lowry.
That's true. Good point.
This goes to show you that, like, Siakam has a lot to work on, and from what I was noticing, like, his handle's not tight enough yet. He got to get stronger too. So because you can throw multiple defenders at Siakam, regardless of how tall he is. You could throw Marcus Smart on him. Marcus Smart able to negate him from scoring from on the perimeter. Tatum can guard him. You can throw Jaylen Brown. Actually had a great defensive job of him as well. So that's what made it really tough on Siakam. So Siakam, he got to work on a lot of things. Or something. He got to get stronger. He got to work on his jump shot. He got to work on his game off the dribble as well.
Right. No, I agree. I agree 100%. And like I said, the fact that you're allowing now, granted, Marcus Smart is one of the best defenders out there. So it's not a slight, but you can't allow him at 6'4", 6'5" ish to guard you. Like, especially on the box. On the perimeter, that's different. But on the box, you got to be able to use that height, that length advantage, and he wasn't able to do it. So, I mean, like I said, to me, it's an unfortunate ending to the Raptors season, but I think you have to give more credit to the Boston Celtics, because they came to play, and like Art said, man, Jason Tatum, that boy's special. He's ready. And I think the key in the next series, which we'll get to, is going to be not Tatum, but it's going to be one of those other Celtics, which I'll leave that for that topic. But let's swing over to the other series. And to me, it was, obviously, going into our predictions, I felt that the Miami Heat were going to give the Bucks a run. I didn't know they were going to run them out the gym, but I thought it was just going to give them a run, and you got to tip your hat to Spo, man. This right here is probably Eric Spoelstra's best coaching job of his career. Even when he had, the LeBron, the Wade, Bosh, I mean, you're supposed to win with them. This team right here is not supposed to be in the Eastern Conference Finals based on the player personnel, based on coming into it. Even when they got Jimmy Butler, nobody said, oh, this is an Eastern Conference Finals team. They thought, they could compete, whatever, maybe a year or two because they're young. Nah. So I give Spoelstra credit. Jimmy Butler, what can you say about Butler, man? Tough as they come, and so I think that the Milwaukee Bucks, and Daniel, I know you want to speak about from the Bucks side of it, but I think the Miami Heat, man, they showed me some things that I didn't think that they had. It's a little bit more toughness and execution that is elite when you think about a team that's as young as they are. Because you think about Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn. They got a lot of young players, and for them to have played against a Milwaukee Bucks team that's been an excellent regular season team, and the way that they did it, I gotta tip my hat to them boys. So what you think about the Bucks, Daniel?
I think that this series actually would have been a little bit closer if the referees made that call in game one.
What call?
So the foul, remember the foul with no time left on the clock?
Okay.
Okay. You got to think about it.
That was 2 back-to-back bad calls.
Yeah. So it could have been, it could have easily been away. I think that, listen, like the referees, that first game, the referees need to stay out of it. You know what I mean? Don't decide the game. Let the players decide the game. It wasn't a foul. Maybe he had his hand on them or whatever like that. But I don't think that. I think that would really, made the series as like it's like a non-gentleman sweep, or whatever. But I just feel like that game right there. Who knows what could have happened? That's my opinion on it. And Giannis, he got to get better. Giannis got to get stronger too, because you can throw multiple defenders at Giannis as well. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, like Giannis is dominant when he can be, but once you throw that wall off, you can throw multiple defenders, and then his teammates is not helping him. Where's Eric Bledsoe at? Chris Middleton had a couple of good games after, but he started off a little bit rough. I need Chris Middleton to take more shots. He's the only one that can close the game out. You know what I mean? With his shooting. Giannis, as good as he is, Giannis, he don't have that not the mentality. He don't have the shot. You can't get it. You can't get a shot from 3 from Giannis, but you can get it from Middleton. So I need Chris Middleton, going forward with his career to really be like, all right, I'm the second best player on this team. Play like that. Don't rely on Giannis as a crutch. So I kind of felt like that's what the Bucks' issue was right there. Because obviously you thought they play better without him for a second. A little bit. They play a little bit better. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to respond to that, but I want to hear Art's opinion on that series first, and then I'll come back and respond to what you said about the Bucks.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I definitely like I told y'all last time. I believe in Miami, that defensive intensity, they built for the playoffs, man. Mm-hmm. While the Bucks, of course, their regular season record is always top notch, but they seem to always end up out. I think last year they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They made it a little further last season, but they aren't built for that championship yet. I think honestly the team's going to get dismantled. That's another topic, but I definitely can foresee Giannis being somewhere else. But then they might try to halt it because they don't want the East to get too weak. So, and I think he will probably head west. So, but yeah, man, I think it was an interesting series. I don't think that game 1 made that big of a difference. And you can remember game 1 also gave that Chris Middleton call. That was the one when Chris Middleton got those 3 shots when he didn't really come down. They said Dragic was in his spot, but he wasn't in his come down. I don't think it was. And they called that 3 shots, and then they went and called that makeup.
2 back-to-back bad calls.
Yeah, it was back-to-back bad calls. Yeah. So yeah, man, I really believe in the Heat. I don't know. I guess we can get into what they're gonna do next. But yeah, the Heat is special, man. From top to bottom, I thought you see they actually cut Nunn out of the lineup. Nunn probably didn't play too much in that past series, so they are kind of getting, I guess, older. They're making sure they're paying their vets. Olenek is getting 20 minutes. You know what I mean? You cut Derrick Jones didn't get a lot of playing time in this past series, so they really cut it down and kind of trying to trim the fat, and they look good, man. Like I said, that Nets series is going to be a smoker, man. But yeah, we'll get to it.
Well, first of all, to respond to Art's comment about them blowing the Bucks up, I don't think they're going to do that this offseason. The Bucks are going to be looking to, and literally Giannis and the management had a meeting today, like I think it was a 3-hour meeting, where he wanted to ensure that they were going all in, because last summer they decided to kind of, save some money, didn't want to go into the luxury tax, and they wound up losing Malcolm Brogdon. We saw how well he played for Indiana. So Giannis met with them to say, what's the deal? And they assured him they're willing to go into the luxury tax to bring in talent to be able to make the move. And some of the moves that I think that they're going to be looking at, actually just did a video on this, 2 trades I think they're going to look at. Number one is Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards, and the second would be Chris Paul. I think, to me, better of those 2, the one that makes more sense specifically in the short term, because I think they're on the clock, because I think Giannis is not going to give them too much time before he decides to leave, will be the Chris Paul one. I think that's the best one because, and kind of going back to Daniel's point, is Giannis is not a guard. Giannis is not Luka Doncic. He's not LeBron James. He's not even a Scottie Pippen. They're playing him like he's a point forward. Giannis is a big man. He has a big man's game. He needs to play like a big man. To me, he is a young Orlando Shaq. He needs to get his ass down on that box, and he needs to go to work. I wouldn't be working on a whole bunch of jump shots. I would work on what my strengths are, which is beating people up down low, number one. Number two, if you bring in a Chris Paul, going back to Art's point, if you bring in a Chris Paul, that takes the ball out of Giannis' hands. Because right now, the reason they're doing it is because Eric Bledsoe's he's a scoring guard. Right? He's not a facilitating guard. So who's going to get these other guys shots? Middleton doesn't do it. Eric Bledsoe, like I said, he's not giving averages 8-9 assists a game where he can set other guys up. So Giannis is taking on that role. And it allows them to do, you can do that during the regular season. Playoffs, you can't play that way because he doesn't have that jumper. They'll back off, they'll wall him up. We've seen it.
So let's go ahead and let's jump over from that series from the East. Let's go over to the West. And I think the series that we got to wrap up is, right now, it's the Lakers and the Houston Rockets, right? That's the one that's just wrapped up. Listen, man, I knew the Lakers were going to win. Like, right, I think we all picked the Lakers to win, but I don't think we picked the Lakers to dominate the way that they dominated this. I mean, this right here was just an absolute mismatch. And you got to credit the Lakers for playing so well, but at the same time, the Houston Rockets, man, they weren't even playing the best Houston Rockets ball that they could play. And I don't understand. Well, clearly we do understand. Mike D'Antoni's out. I think he lost that team, lost the locker room because he decided not to come back. But that system that the Houston Rockets have, it's not going to get it done. I remember Kobe Bryant saying it a while back. He said, you cannot win a championship playing that type of style ball. And they tried the small ball. I think it's time to blow that up. I think you're going to have to get you a legitimate big man. I'm going to tell you a big man I think they should look into. I don't know his availability yet, but somebody like a Brook Lopez, a big man that can shoot from the 3, but also can defend the paint. If you want to play 5 out, you got to have that kind of style. He will be the perfect center for that. But other than that, I mean, a new coach is going to want to have a big man. So that small ball is going to have to go. What you think about that whole situation with Houston, Art?
Man, I was glad to see the outcome, of course. My Lakers look good. Like I said, man, they mocked the flow at them boys. So that was real good to see, man. Unfortunately, we didn't get a full Westbrook. I feel like Westbrook was hampered. He made, I ain't gonna say it was an excuse, but he came to the bubble late with the COVID. Then he got injured when he got there, and then he didn't get back into the series until that previous series until like 4 games in. So I do see how Westbrook could have not been himself. Like you said, man, that team just isn't designed for championship basketball. Like you said, they were a wild card. Like they could be the best team in the bubble. They could be the best team in the playoffs. They could be the worst team in the playoffs because of how they're composed. Didn't really see much success with them. I was glad when I saw they had the 4 seed and Lakers had the 1 because I kind of felt like that was favorable for us getting to the Western Conference Finals. But ultimately, man, they're gonna have to blow that up. I like the big 2. I like Harden and Westbrook together. I like Covington's presence. Honestly, though, the Daniel House absence made a difference, man. He had a big game 1. Game 2, he was all right. Actually, he didn't play game 2. He just played game 1. So, and they won game 1. You know what I mean? So we can say that made a difference. But overall, man, Lakers was going to do it anyway. Got to see what's going to happen with this next series, man. I believe in my guys, though.
Houston was just too small, man. And they finally, the Lakers finally used their size. That's all they had to do pretty much. They had the size. And then when the Lakers decided to go small, they still had the size, That Rockets offense, I'm not a fan of the entire, small ball situation. I used to be, but I'm not really a fan of it. You don't got the right personnel You know, you could play small, but you basically really need power forwards that can run and shoot. That's what you need in a small ball situation. You know, like Giannis would be perfect for them or something like that. You know what I mean? Somebody that you can't wall off because they got shooters. You know what I'm saying? So if Giannis get a rebound, you got a big man that can go pass off. You know what I'm saying? Bam Adebayo will be pretty okay in that small ball situation. Somebody that can just run the floor and rebound and you know, defend the paint as well. You know, but what Houston's doing is just not actual basketball and stuff, you know what I mean? And as far as the Daniel House situation, a lot of people just think that, you know, they didn't know who he was, you know, but basketball people like you, Hannibal, like you are, y'all know what Daniel House can do. You know what I mean? Like he can hit shots. He can hit multiple threes. You know, it was a game, I think game 1, he hit like 3 in a row, 3-pointers in a row or something like that, you know? Houston, they need 3-point shooters. That's their offense. They are reliant on 3-point shots. You know, they don't want to get up, you know, 33 pointers. They want to get up 50. You know what I'm saying? So more shooters is better. And I also want to commend the Lakers for actually playing amazing 3-point defense too. They ran them off that line because Houston wasn't getting up 30, 40, 53. They was getting up between 25, 30. I think they shot 33 3-pointers one game, you know. So, you know, kudos to the Lakers defense. And you know what I mean? And you know, the offense finally caught up to the defense. Like like what we was talking about when the bubble first started, that the Lakers offense was just really behind, that it was just going to catch up to their defense. And then, you know, it's going to be on. I think that the next round, before we do our predictions, the next round is going to be very interesting depending on who's in the building with them. Hannibal.
Yeah, man. I like I said, the Lakers definitely, they impressed me. I mean, and I think Art hit it on the head. I don't remember Daniel said it. When they go small, they're still bigger than your team. You know, like they have the 2 best small ball players in the game, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who can literally at 6'10", 6'11", and 6'9". These guys are the biggest guys on the court, but there's also the most skilled guys on the court. Anthony Davis' ability to play on the box, posting up, shooting from the 3 to fade away, play offense and defense. He can guard the perimeter, guard the post, and the same thing with LeBron. They're matchup nightmares. You know what I'm saying? So that was amazing to see them do that. And once again, I got to tip my hat to Frank Vogel, understanding that. And I love how he did this too. He didn't make the change after the first game when they lost. He knew he had to make that change. I said it. I think we all may have said it, that you got, this isn't a series for Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. So we knew that coming into it. But I love the fact he didn't make that change after a loss, because that could mess with the psyche of a JaVale McGee. He made that change not even after game 1 when they won. He made it after game 2 when we had a lead and they won. So he was like, you know what, now I'm going to make this change, because now McGee understands that, you know, we'll talk about it, but it's not like we lost and I'm going to sit you down and make him think he's the reason for the loss. So I love that concept. Lakers just clicking. They're absolutely clicking on all cylinders. Like I say, you know, we can talk about that, you know, the next series. But for me, man, as long as LeBron and Davis stay healthy, it's their year. It's the year. So let's shift gears to the next series. And this next one, man, this is a shocker for me, bro. Like, I mean, listen, we all felt that the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers were going to be a tough series, right? I remember I had them going 7. I believe Art had 7. I think I know Daniel definitely said Denver. I can't remember if he said 6 or 7, but we all knew this was going to be an interesting series, a tight one. I just didn't expect the Clippers to be as mentally weak as they are. Like, I'm just calling it what it is. Like, their talent is official. That's why they're able to build 16, 19-point leads game after game against a legit team. But the reality is, when you have this kind of lead and you give it up game in and game out, because once again, remember, they did that against Dallas. They gave up a 16-plus point lead to Dallas. And it starts from the top. Doc Rivers, he's done this before. With Orlando, he gave up a 3-1 lead when he had T-Mac. When he had the Clippers with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, his team lost a 3-1 lead with them. I was watching the video earlier today. Phil Jackson was coaching against the Boston Celtics in the finals, and Phil Jackson said in the timeout, said, listen, this team will lose the game in the fourth quarter. He said, they'll lose in the fourth. That's a Doc Rivers coach team that had KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. And he understood the mentality of that team, and it starts from the top. And that's trickling through this Clippers team today. So Kawhi Leonard, an amazing player who's going to get his, he's going to get his. But these other guys, man, they just don't seem to they don't have that championship pedigree. I mean, you can't teach that. You got to experience that. You got to go through that. And for whatever reason, man, Lemon Pepper Lou is still, he ain't where he needs to be. Six-man Montrezl Harrell is not where he needs to be. So all this depth that we keep hearing about from the Clippers is not manifesting. Pat Bear, every time you turn around, he's got more fouls than points. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they've got to do something different because Jokic is a beast. We've seen, and the Clippers kind of wrap this up. I think the Clippers are getting a little exposed. We saw Porzingis take advantage of him, and we've now seen Jokic take advantage of him. We know who's waiting for them next round, Anthony Davis. So I think that, that's definitely something I have to deal with. What you think about that, man?
I think that Montrezl Harrell is not as good as everybody say he is. I think that he's very overrated. It's just the system that he played in. Listen, Harrell got his point because he hustles. He's an amazing hustle. He's an amazing hustle guy. But Jokic is. I'm loving it. What Jokic is doing to him, like I'm loving it. There's nothing this man could do. There's nothing Ivica Zubac could do. Like nothing. And he's slow. You know what I'm saying? So like this is why, because me playing basketball as a big man, the big man position is back just for a couple of weeks. I'm enjoying it, but like they're stopping Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell pick and rolls. Then once that renders Harrell useless. Look, he's useless when he's not in his comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? And for Kawhi to be such a great player, he's not a great vocal leader. That hurts because they look to him. Yeah, you can lead by example, but sometimes you need somebody to, get in that ass and be like, yo, play hard. Like I know, like when I was playing, I played with amazing players. When I was playing AAU ball and stuff, I played with he was former number one player in the nation, Lenny Cook. And then when he was off his game. I don't care if you're ranked number one in the nation. Yo, stop BSing. Get on your game or else. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta like the fire. That's the issue I be having with these people that want to team up. They're best friends. They've known each other for years. So when the heat is up, they don't want to step on nobody's toes. They don't want to hurt nobody's feelings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But like Clippers, they got a lot. They got to go back to the drawing board. If they want to win Game 7, they can still win Game 7. They can actually still win the championship too. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like the most wide open it has been in years. But they gotta figure it out. And the first thing is, how to stop Jokic. You know what I mean? Y'all can contain Jamal Murray a little bit. You know what I mean? But you gotta stop the other shooters and stuff. Stop daring the other guys to shoot because they're hitting their shots now. Now this is what's going to make it. This is what makes it better for for Denver, because at first, the Clippers was daring the others to shoot on Denver. Now they're hitting their threes. Gary Harris is back in form a little bit. Now you gotta defend them. So now this is going to open it up for everybody. But then, like, you got that X factor, you got that Jokic coming off, just doing whatever he wants. I say just keep giving him the ball, and Jokic and Murray work that pick and roll because the Clippers cannot stop them. They can't.
Yeah, man. I didn't factor in Lou Williams having this type of series, man. I envision him being around the 20-point average area. I think he's around like the 13-point average area, so they're not going to win like that. They really needed him to be that third wheel in this series, and he's like the sixth wheel. PG has stepped up. Playoff P, you want to call him? You actually got to play him now. So you do got to give him those kudos. He did finally show up, but Kawhi's a killer. We know Kawhi's a killer. Fourth quarter, Kawhi, he's going to give you 12 points if you need it. But it's like, if he's the only one that can do it, it's no way they can win that Game 7, man. And I seen a number somewhere, man. Jokic in Game 7 is like the best Game 7 player in the NBA right now. It's something stupid. Like, he averaging like almost like 30 and 15 in games. I don't know how he always end up in Game 7s. I think he's 4-1 in Game 7s. Yeah, exactly. He's 4-1 in Game 7s right now. Which is crazy. You know what I mean? So I do envision him going Hamlet. Murray, I don't know if he's going to – he only missed 4 shots last game. I don't think that's going to happen again. I could see him missing a little more. Michael Porter had a pretty good game, so that's really good to see the Nuggets, everybody stepping up for them. Gary Harris, like I was saying, playing both sides of the ball. Of course, we saw what he did defensively in that previous series, but now he's coming back offensively as well. So, yeah, man, it's looking really good for the Nuggets. I did pick the Nuggets but I really didn't formulate how they would actually go against the Lakers. I was really I was convincing myself, let's not see the Clippers, you know what I mean? Knowing the Clippers was going to make it, right? I was trying to convince. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. This is some worldwide breaking news right now. I didn't think he was going to get this far, bro. I was just hoping it got this far, you know what I mean? But seeing that the Clippers are falling apart, if you want to ask me, I had no idea about Doc Rivers, those previous notions about his coaching in the fourth quarter. I used to be a Celtics fan when KG was there, so I really didn't pay attention to that. So that's really interesting to see how they fall apart at the end, man. It's not looking good for the Clippers, man. Lou Will is open to have a 30-point game. We definitely can't rule him out. He's still one of the best scorers in the game. But it's looking like they just got those top two, and everybody else is just role players. So we'll see what happens.
See, but with Lou Williams' situation is this is why he's not scoring that much, is because they're using him on pick and rolls and they're doing switching. They're switching everything. You know what I'm saying? So Lou Williams is not a good defender, so it's just taking him off the ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Remember, think about it. Even before the bubble started, LeBron and them, they did that to him. Mm-hmm. As far as Doc Rivers, that was a great point you made, Hannibal. And think about it, Doc Rivers cost him a championship in 2010 by letting my brother shoot. You know what I'm saying? You should, you know what I mean? You letting your others get off. It's going to bite you in your ass. You know what I'm saying? When it matters. And game seven matters. I kind of feel like all the pressure is on the Clippers to win this game 7. You know what I mean? If they lose, oh my, the Clippers have to win. I kind of feel like, all right, I feel like rooting for the Clippers to win. Because if they lose this, listen, somebody's getting fired. It's going to be on. That's how I feel about it, man.
Hey, yo, I have a question for y'all before we move on.
Yeah.
Do y'all think the fact that, well, at least the Clippers have played 6 games in both series. They went 6 in the Mavericks. Now they're at least 7 in this one. While the Nuggets went 7 and now going 7 again. While the Lakers have went 5-5. Is that going to be a difference in the Western Conference Finals, considering that the Lakers are an older team that has had the chance to rest while everybody is playing these whole slew of games? I feel like the Lakers are going to be the well-rested team. Rondo didn't even play that first series. Rondo's looking like playoff Rondo, they call it. I mean, I don't know if anybody will have enough in the tank in that Western Conference Finals to compete with the Lakers. What y'all think about that one?
Well, I think, first of all, before we get to that series, to wrap up this one, I do have the Clippers winning tomorrow. I knew it was going to, and I understand why, Art, you said you didn't really expect Denver to be here. I did. Like I said, I expected it to go 7 because NBA is about matchups, right? It's matchup based, and the Clippers, they don't really defend big post players well. That's why Porzingis was really, had he not got injured, he was dominating and would have dominated against them because he's just too big. Zubac, his feet are too slow. He's a good rim protector, but his feet are too slow, so he can't get out to a big guy who can shoot from the outside. Montrezl Harrell, even though he's got the energy, he's like 6'7", 6'8". You know what I'm saying? So that's one of their weaknesses. That's why they brought in Joakim Noah, but they're not playing Joakim Noah, so we don't know what he has left anyway. But that's one of the weaknesses. And so a team that has that type of a score, I think, is definitely going to have an advantage of them. And the second part to that is a guard that can penetrate, get into the paint, into the teeth of the defense. We saw Luka Doncic live in the paint. And now Jamal Murray, the games that they won, Jamal Murray has done the same thing. As long as Murray continues to attack, they have no way to stop it because that's why Pat Bev's getting in foul trouble. That's why the Nuggets are shooting all these free throws, because their Clippers' aggressive defensive style, it actually hurts. This style, their team is really built for the 90s. They're not built for this era of basketball with all of these dogs, all of these aggressive defensive perimeter players, because you can't hand check. These are ticky-tack fouls they're getting, and it's putting the other team in the free throw situation. So I think that definitely hurts them. I do think that they're going to win this game because for the third straight game, I think they're going to go up by about 16 points. And I think that this game, they'll wind up holding on to that lead. And I think they should probably win. I got the Clippers winning about 12, 13, something like that. But I think Kawhi Leonard is going to be too much. Like the Nuggets have nobody to stop him. He's going to go insane, probably about 35, 40 points. Moving on to that next round. And to answer your question, I don't think it really matters. That we've seen the Lakers have long layoffs. The first round against Portland, because Portland had the play-in game, so they had to wait to figure out who's going to win that. Then they had the second round, Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets went to 7 games, and then the Lakers were sitting around waiting. And we saw the Lakers lose both of those games to both of those teams. and then win the next 4. I don't think it really matters. I think the Lakers could wind up being rusty for this one, losing game 1, and could just run off the next 4, or they could win that one and then I got the Lakers in 6. I mean, I regardless of how that first game goes, I got the Lakers winning against either one of these teams in 6. And I think that the Clippers are a tougher matchup than the Nuggets for the Lakers. But even if the Clippers get there, they can't match it. They can't. They have nobody to stop LeBron. That includes Kawhi. He can't stop LeBron. They have nobody to stop Anthony Davis. How do you beat that team, especially when those two guys attracting so much attention and it's allowing all of these open shooters where people thought the Lakers didn't have shooters and they just set a franchise record hitting 19 threes in the last game, and they got them the game before that they hit 12 threes. Game before that hit maybe 10, 11 threes. They had I think 4 out of 5 games they hit 10 plus threes. So they've got guys that can hit shots. It's just a matter of are they hitting them, but it all starts with LeBron and Davis. As long as they're healthy, man, Lakers not losing. So with that being said, I think we've wrapped up the West. Now it's time to get to the series that we all been waiting for, which is the Eastern Conference Finals, and that is the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. To me, man, listen, this one right here is a really interesting series because it's almost like a contrast of styles, even though these teams are very similar. When it comes to the Boston Celtics, man, they're top heavy, whereas the Miami Heat, they got a lot of depth. They got a lot of guys out there who can give you not 20 points a night, but it can give you 10, 15 a night, right? They got probably about 7 or 8 guys that can give you 10 to 15 a night. Whereas the Boston Celtics, they got 3 guys that's going to give you about 20 a night. And then Marcus Smart, sometimes he can give you 20, but he's good for almost about 15 a night. So they got to, without Gordon Hayward, which is really going to hurt in this series, that extra depth, I think that this right here is going to be a 7-game series. It's going to be a knockout, drag 'em series. But I think the biggest X factors in the series is going to be the point guards for both teams, Kemba Walker and Goran Dragic. And I say that because specifically for Boston, Kemba Walker is the engine for that team. We saw Nick Nurse try that to do a boxing one on Kemba Walker, and it almost paid off. The last 2 games of the series, we started really implementing that. Kemba Walker combined for 19 points in those 2 games, right? And I think that right there was a game plan that was brilliant because I'm thinking, why are you putting a boxing one on not their best player, who's Jason Tatum, not even really their second best player in that series, who was Jaylen Brown? You put it on Kemba Walker, but it makes sense. He's the guy who's getting in the paint, drawing the defense, and kicking out to all these open shooters. So what kind of defense is Miami going to run to contain Kemba Walker? I don't know if they're going to do a boxing one, but I definitely know that Goran Dragic, he's got to continue to produce like he's been producing. He's been averaging almost 20 points a game in the last series. He's got to produce because Kemba Walker's going to bring it. Kemba's going to bring it. And so that's the matchup that I'm looking for as far as who I think is going to win. I'm going to hold that to the end of the conversation. What you think?
Like you said that Boston's top heavy. Miami has a lot of depth. I just feel like Miami's depth is young. So it kind of contrast, you know what I'm saying, with Boston's top heavy, being so top heavy or whatever. That's just my issue with Miami. They're going to play hard. They're going to bring it, the coaching, the whole Heat culture life, what they got going on. They're going to come and give it 100%. I just feel like they're putting a lot of pressure on those rookies, man. You know what I mean? I just think that it's going to be real different. And then now, like, I'm becoming a Tatum guy now, man. Just watching him play and then just finding out he's only 22 years old doing this. And I want to know what he's going to be like 5 years from now. Like, he's special. He's special. Like what me and you, Hannibal, before Art came in, what we was talking about, how, Miami play hard, but Boston got a lot of special gifted scorers that they can score easy. Jimmy Butler's going to get his numbers, but he's going to work. It seems like he works for it. He works really hard to get his points and stuff. And Marcus Smart can actually, I think Marcus Smart can contain Jimmy Butler. That's just my opinion on that. I think that's just what it is. You don't see Marcus Smart containing, gifted athletes. Like, they're not going to put Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum for a whole time because Jason Tatum just really gifted. He could do a lot of things. But Jimmy Butler, I think that matchup right there, that's what I want to see. I want to see that Marcus Smart, Jimmy Butler matchup, see how that goes. I think that's how the series will go as far as, like, what can Miami do with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm definitely. I don't know if we were gonna give our outcomes yet. But I'm impressed with Miami, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, like y'all know, I did pick the Celtics from the beginning to make it where they are. So it's not a surprise to me on the Celtics. While on the other end, Miami, they came out of nowhere to me. I saw them during the regular season, but it really seems like they're built for the playoffs, man. Like you said, though, that depth is young, so I think that's going to be nullified. Looking back at the Celtics, man, like the Celtics have that firepower, man. And you know what I was thinking earlier? Marcus Smart is, and this is a slight disrespect. Marcus Smart is kind of a poor man's Jimmy Butler. I know Jimmy Butler gets paid more, you know what I mean? He's looked at as a superstar, but Marcus Smart is looked at as a good player, you know what I mean? But Jimmy Butler, Marcus Smart, his ability to impact both sides of the ball, man, is real. You have to acknowledge he's the top 5 defender, like, in the NBA. Marcus Smart, at least a top 5 perimeter defender in the NBA, while also giving you 5 threes at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and in the fourth quarter, man, dude's been a different monster, man. Dude's been like an elite player in the fourth quarter. It's not like he's just a good player. He kind of elevates in the fourth quarter. So, and this is not talking about the top 3 they have. We're talking about their 4th best player right here. You know what I mean? I expect Kemba Walker to have a much better series against Dragic than he did against the 2 guards up in Toronto. You know what I mean? Dragic is a little bit slew-footed, very strong offensive guard, even gets steals with his hands, but he's not going to be able to stay in front of my guy, man. So I'm really seeing Kemba Walker having a big series. At least I hope for a big series from Kemba Walker. People are like, yes, Jason Tatum is a certified superstar, but did y'all see what Jaylen Brown did, man? Jaylen Brown averaged like 24 over the past 4 games. Like, don't sleep on my guy. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't a game with these guys, man. Like, Kemba Walker slipped a little bit, but he compensated. You know what I mean? And they're actually saying Gordon Hayward's going to be back. He might even be back for game 1 tomorrow. But he's back he's been back in the bubble for over a week. He's passed through quarantine and all that stuff. So it's really just how his ankle's reacting. So he's what they say he's almost there. He's doing full contact stuff. So he might be back for the game for game 1. Definitely foresee him being back by game 3. Definitely gives him another scoring option. But yeah, man, that youth, I don't think the youth is going to be able to hang with the scoring prowess of the Celtics. They show how good of a defensive team is, being able to lock down the Raptors a few games. They got locked down. Honestly, that series shouldn't have went 7, man. The OG big shot was obviously, it should have been 3-0 type thing. Then there was another game where the Celtics kind of gave it away. I think it was game 5 or something. They gave it away. So the Celtics are a really impressive team, man. We're going to see what's happening with this Eastern Conference. I'm going to get my assessment, man. The Celtics in 6, man. Celtics in 6. I don't think that he can be able to hang.
That's tough. I think that's going to be. I think it's the coaching too. We can't forget about the coaching. You know what I mean? Coacher versus Stevens, man. You got coaches that got counters that can counter the counters. You know what I'm saying? So that I think that's important too. You gotta tie that in. You know, you already gave your prediction. You know what? I'm not following. I don't want to follow you because I'm gonna follow you and go with Boston, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna say Boston in 7. I'm not gonna say Boston in 6, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Also, you mentioned Gordon Hayward. Shout out to Gordon Hayward. That's one of my boys from Indianapolis. We go way back. We used to be neighbors and stuff like that as well. But if he comes back, he's huge, man. He's going to be huge. He's going to be huge for them. I think they should bring him off the bench, start him off slow. Maybe they might, start him. You know, who knows? But definitely need Kemba to step it up. He had a rough series. Going to definitely need to step it up. I think Dragic going to put that pressure on him offensively, though. Kemba's not a good defender, which is surprisingly. You know what I mean? Kemba, his height, man. Like, he looks even shorter than 6'1" out there than he looks. He looks like he's like 5'9" now for some reason. Like, he lost like 3 inches or something like that. So like they might put him in. They might try to play him off the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might try to play him off the floor. Who knows what Spo got going on up there, man? But it's going to see how Hayward comes back, the coaching situation, the matchup between them 2 coaches, and also Miami's rookies, man. Like, they're going to still have to play with that same confidence that they've been playing with all year. But I just think that the light's going to be a little bit too bright, man. I don't know. Like, I love Hero. I think Hero's going to be a star. I love Nunn. I want to see how Nunn comes back because, like you said earlier, Nunn wasn't really, playing that much. You know what I mean? So I want to see how he comes back, and also, Duncan Robinson as well. So it's just a lot of. It's going to be an interesting series, but I'm gonna say Boston in 7, and as far as LA, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with depending on who they match. If they go with the Clippers, if Clippers win tomorrow, I'll say LA Lakers in 6, and if Denver wins, I'll say LA in 5.
So I think for this, I'm torn because, like I said, it's going 7. Definitely have it going 7. But my heart is picking one team and my mind is picking another team. So my heart is telling me I want the Boston Celtics to win. Because I want the Lakers and Celtics. I want the Lakers to get in the finals and win the championship to get our 17th ring against the Celtics and wind up beating them to tie them for 17 total. That's what my heart says. But my mind is telling me the Heat gonna win this in 7, man. And the reason is the one name that everybody has not talked about yet is probably the most important player on the Miami Heat's team. That's Bam Adebayo. He's a second team all defense, and he is a problem in that box for the Boston Celtics. For Boston to win this, Jason Tatum has to be the best player in the series. He can't let Jimmy Butler be the best player or Bam be the best player. Jason Tatum has to be the best player, and Walker and Brown have to be elite. They can't have, like, Kemba Walker can't have an off series like he had against Toronto because Toronto relied on their top 3 scorers so much. That's not Miami. Miami, their top 3 scorers are Dragic, Butler, and Bam. Jimmy Butler can have a 13-point scoring night, and they can get that same. They can get 20 points off the bench. They got, like I said, they got about 6 or 7 guys that can give you 15 plus points. And I understand what you all are talking about the youth, and I agree. I think the youth definitely showed with Duncan Robinson and for Kendrick Nunn. The one guy that I don't even think we can even consider him a rookie based on what he's played anymore is Tyler Hero. He's like a sophomore now based on how he's played. He's a guy that I really am looking for into that shooting guard matchup with Marcus Smart. Because even though Duncan Robinson starts, Hero's going to come off and get most of the minutes at that shooting guard spot. Smart is like I said, to me, he's one of the best, like Art said, he's one of the best defenders out there. But the way that they set Hero up, Marcus Smart, I don't think he's going to be as effective offensively in this series because he's going to have to do a lot of running. He's going to have to chase Duncan Robinson off screens. He's going to have to chase Tyler Hero all around the court. That's going to, you see, playing against Toronto, he was really more stationary, right? Because he's guarding Siakam in the post or Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet. They were kind of just standing around and he's standing in front of them and then he could kind of almost resting on defense until he had to guard the ball. That's not what Miami's going to do. Miami's going to make him run because you're not going to put Jason Tatum on Duncan Robinson to use his energy up. You're not going to put Jaylen Brown on Duncan Robinson to use his energy up. So who's going to chase Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero around all over the court when they run around the screens? It's got to be Marcus Smart. So I don't think we're going to get the offensive Marcus Smart that we got in the second round. I think we'll get the defense for sure. But I'm leaning toward a 6 or 7 man team. It's going to give me 15 plus a night compared to a team that's got 3 big elite scorers that got to be elite every night. I'm going with Miami Heat in 7, man.
Well, for the West Conference, I want to go back to the West. One question about the West real quick. You think that because somebody said interesting point that the Lakers have the 2 best players, but that the Nuggets have the best overall team left in this type of situation, that we should not be sleeping on Denver?
Let me respond to that. The Nuggets do not have the best team left. The Lakers actually have the best team left. The Lakers have the best player left. That's LeBron. They got the best duo left in LeBron and AD. But people, they underestimate playoff Rondo. Everybody talk about playoff P? No. Playoff Rondo's a real thing, and we've seen that. Rondo plays almost like an all-star in the playoffs. He's done it consistently. He's the only player in the last 20 years where every single stat from points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, every category, it goes up in the playoffs. The only player in the last 20 years that the career averages from the regular season to the playoffs go up across the board. And he's showing you that even at this late stage. So Rondo's going to be what he does. And then when you got not 1 in LeBron, but 2 elite facilitators in Rondo and LeBron, you're going to get open shots to your shooters. Kuzma, Danny Green, KCP, Marcus Morris, Quinn Cook, J.R. Smith, Deion Waiters. Man, listen, the Lakers, think about this. These are the names of the Lakers that didn't play. They didn't really have any factor at all in the 7-game series where they just beat the Houston Rockets in 5. These are the names: Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, J.R. Smith, Deion Waiters, Quinn Cook, Jared Dudley. Like, that's 6 guys who didn't even have any impact. And then you still got the 8 guys that actually played. They brought a Taylor Horton Tucker off the bench, a rookie, and he came in looking like he was a vet somewhere making big plays. This Lakers team and the depth of the Lakers has been slept on all season because they see these two superstars and they don't value a guy like Kuzma who can give you 11, 12 here. That's all you really need from him. A guy like Marcus Morris can give you 11, 12. When you got two guys like Davis and LeBron giving you 60 points, you don't need but 8 here, 9 there. And they got so many guys that can do that. Rondo give you 10 one game, right? Kuzma give you 10 one game. Danny Green give you 10. KCP give you 8 or 9. How are you going to stop all that? And those guys are going to get open shots. Why? Because Anthony Davis, you got to double him. LeBron James, you got to double him. Rajon Rondo, you're not going to double him, but he's going to get into the paint and kick it open. These are professional players that are going to get open shots. Denver has, like I said, I give them a little bit more credit than you do, Dan. We said 5. I think that, they'll get, I think 2. Man, and I've been saying I thought Houston would get 2, so I could be wrong. But I see the Lakers at 6 either way, man. What you think, Art?
Man, I know what you got me excited. What talking about that Lakers team, though, man. Boy, are we deep? Are we deep excited? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Overall, man, I do think we're the best team left. I thought it would be the Clippers as far as best overall team, but with the lack of showing up of those 2 6 men, you really can't give them. I thought Shamet would give them more. He's not giving them anything. Their third best, or I'll say their third or fourth best player has been JaMychal Green. Like, come on now, you're not going you're not going to win. I ain't going to say I'm not JaMychal Green. He's always been a good player, but it can't be a third or fourth best player, man. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing whoever the Lakers see, if it's the Nuggets or the Clippers, the Lakers are going to win that in no longer than 6. This won't be a 7-game series. I don't think either one of those teams are strong enough to compete with my guys, man. So I mean, that series, I say that's going to go 6. I know we're kind of trying to conclude the joint, jumping back to the East. I do see the Celtics probably going to get that in 6, man. I did say that. So yeah, so that one, the Eastern Conference goes 6. Eastern Conference goes 6 for the Celtics. Western Conference, I'm going 6 for the Lakers.
I mean, like I said, I definitely, I got it, 6 for the Lakers. I got 7 for the Miami Heat, and that right there will set up a Laker Heat finals, which is like I said, that's not what I want to see. I want to see Lakers Celtic. I don't think the Boston's going to get past Miami. And regardless, whether it's Miami or whether it's the Celtics, I'm going Lakers in 6 all the way. I don't see either one of those teams. The Lakers aren't playing a 7. This is almost like Jordan in the 90s. The Lakers not playing a game 7. It's going to be 5 or 6. They're not playing a game 7. I mean, it's just too much talent. Like I say, as long as they stay healthy, that's the one caveat. They got to stay healthy, LeBron and Anthony Davis. And that's why getting this rest, getting these teams out of the way has been beneficial for them. But tell me what team's playing better than them right now. Tell me what teams got more swag, more confidence in their style, more identity right now with how they were in the regular season and they're carrying it over to the playoffs than the Lakers, man. I got Lakers over Miami Heat in 6, man.
You know what? I'm still not going to sleep on the Clippers, though, man. So if the Clippers get past, you know what I mean? I think the Clippers going to get up to play the Lakers too as well. So we also got to talk about that as well. You know what I'm saying? And because that could be a 7-game dog fight. You know what I'm saying? If the Clippers win, you know what I'm saying? So we're excited or whatever, but also the Clippers are still the Clippers. They still got Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? So we can't really be like, oh man, like wipe the Clippers off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they messed up and stuff. They gave up 3. They gave up a 3-1 lead. Now it's tied up. Whatever. They gave up multiple double-digit leads in the third quarter. You know, so I think this is how I feel. To be honest, like I want Denver to move on, right? That's what my mind's saying. But my heart's saying I think that the Clippers is going to get it, man. So I think that's going to be Clippers and Lakers in the conference finals, man. You know what I'm saying? But the Clippers got to do their work. They got to do the work. I think they're like mentally wounded right now. Like wow, we gave up a 3-1 lead. You know what I mean? So and all the pressure is on there for them because you think about it, people's careers is at stake too as well. It's going to be if they lose this game, I think Doc Rivers is out. I think people is getting traded. I think it's going to be a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So look, Montrezl Harrell, he's licking his wounds right now because he's getting killed and he's useless right now. Lou Williams, You know, it's in their heads right now. It's in their heads, but they just got to come out and play. So, all right, cool. Because I want to make your point up about when you said that they're ready for the Lakers, but they might not be. Remember, 10 years ago when the Lakers went on a championship run, Oklahoma City gave them everything they can handle. You know, Lakers almost got caught slipping. You know what I'm saying? But they finally rise up. They won, and then it helped them the rest of the way to win that title. So, you know what I mean? Maybe this actually might be the kick in the butt for the Clippers. You know what I mean? To really, all right, we can go home ringless. We can go home, you know what I mean, without a chance to even contend for a title. Maybe that might happen. You know, that's just my thoughts on that, Hannibal.
Kawhi's not Kobe, man. Kawhi's not Kobe. That's a big difference right there. Don't get it twisted. Kobe's back was against the wall. This ain't Kawhi. Kawhi ain't gonna lead his team. Kawhi ain't gonna give you the punch in the back like he punched Gasol out. You know what I mean? So that's those are the differences, man. But overall, I foresee if we're gonna talk about that, just finishing off that what the game's gonna look like tomorrow. I really feel like the Nuggets are gonna give it to Jokic as much as they can, man. Like Jokic can have a 45-point game, one of the career highs when you've seen from him before. And another thing about the Nuggets, man, they have so many X factors, man. We know kind of what we're going to get. We can expect from 3 or 4 of the Clippers. While you have Jeremy Grant that can give you 25, hitting 5 threes if he comes through. Michael Porter Jr. can come through. Gary Harris can have his biggest game of the playoffs. Gary Harris was a 20-point scorer, not this past year, but the year before. He was 17 points a game type player. So I can foresee one of those type players stepping up in this game. While on the Clippers end, we know we'll probably get 40 from Kawhi, may even get 25, 30 from PG. But outside of that, like, where the other 30 points coming from? You know what I mean? 40 points coming from, while the Nuggets going to put points on the board. You know what I mean? So I can foresee. I know what you're saying. It's a playoff game. Game 7 might be a little more sluggish. But just looking at how the Clippers have been playing and how the Nuggets have been playing as of late, I can foresee this being a really beneficial or a really prominent game for Jokic and the supporting cast.
You dig?